Do you guys remember this story we did 3 months ago of how a woman in Ogun State gave a serial killer 3,000 naira with hopes of him doubling it so she could pay her children's school fees, not realizing that she gave the money along with her daughter to a serial killer who, after killing her daughter, ran away, and then he was eventually caught, and then he took the police to where he killed the girl and they found the body. It was a whole story back then. Now, if you remember then also, the serial killer by the name of Ogunaike Philip confessed that he was introduced into this life of crime and killing by a friend named Danjuma. That Danjuma was the one who initiated him into a cult, and with the help of Danjuma, he had killed about 3 to 4 ladies to steal their money and then rob them of their mobile phones. We did this story about 3 months ago, and at the time, the police were looking for Danjuma, his accomplice, the person who has been helping him do all the killing. Well, what do you know? In the flip side of events, Danjuma himself is making headlines after he was murdered by his girlfriend. Put in mind that this is unrelated. The police got a call that a lady has stabbed her boyfriend to death in Gonogun area of Abeokuta, Ogun State. When the lady was arrested and the police did their little investigation, they found out that the person she murdered was actually someone on their wanted list. Was the young man they've been looking for all this while, who was behind the accomplice of Ogunaike Philip, the serial killer. Now, according to the girlfriend, 22-year-old Iyanu Adedeji, she said that at the time she was living with Danjuma, whose real name is Funsho Jimo. She said that when they arrested Ogunaike Philip, the serial killer, and he confessed his name, they had to move to another area, and he went into deep hiding. According to what we are hearing, Iyanu claimed that she wasn't so much aware that he was a cultist. It was after their second child's dedication of some sort, some kind of christening, because they had 2 children together. When they were doing the child's dedication, Danjuma came with his friends, and that was when she observed how they were singing a unique kind of song and they were giving a special kind of handshake. And that was when she realized that the man that she's carrying babies for was a cultist. But that really did not stop her still. At this point, she already had 2 kids for him, so she had to stay in whatever relationship that they had. Eventually, she's aware of his cultism. She also reveals that he was always in trouble. He was always fighting people and killing people, and they were always looking for him, that they have even announced on TV and on the radio that people are looking for him. And she was aware of this. And anytime such a thing happened or the news was fresh, Danjuma would go into hiding, and all the time and all the hiding he does is probably in their home, because apparently not many people know him to his house. So he was pretty smart to do all his evil and dealing, but never brought it home. She also revealed that he was hiding from rival cult groups because they were looking for him. Everybody's looking for him. His fellow cult members are looking for him. The rival cult group are looking for him. The police are looking for him. And to make matters worse, where he's hiding in his home with his girlfriend and children, he wasn't even making it cozy. Iyanu claimed that anytime he's into hiding or anytime he runs away to go and hide somewhere and then comes back, he would beat her up. He would physically assault her. He was always mistreating her. He would beat her up, lock her up, and prevent her from going out, seize her mobile phone, prevent her from speaking to anyone. And that 3 days before she had to kill him, he had beaten her up and locked her inside. And then let her go out to take their 5-year-old daughter to school. Now, that day that she took the child to school, she somehow probably came back later than he expected. And when she returned home, Danjuma confronted her and accused her of going to cheat. And when she denied going to sleep with another man, he then accused her of going to the police to rout him out because he knows he's wanted. And that was how a whole fight started. Iyanu claimed that he started beating her up because, again, he's suspecting her of either going to cheat or going to report him to the police. And during their fight, he was the one who went to the kitchen, got a knife, a very small chickeny knife that they used to use to peel orange, and threatened her with it. And according to her, she fought back. She did not claim to stabbing him. She said that she flung the knife in a way that the knife hit him in his chest. And that is not the weirdest part of this story. The weirdest part is when the knife hit Danjuma's chest, he panicked. It's not even from the injury. It's the fact that he claimed that the charm and juju that he did prohibits him from being stabbed. That knife was not allowed to cut him. Otherwise, the charm would fail and it would kill him. Iyanu said that when she noticed he was bleeding, She tried to help him, but he was looking for something else. He was looking for an antidote to the charm, something that would probably help the charm stay strong, because right now he was acting as though the charms that he had on his body is being washed away. Unfortunately for Danjuma, he couldn't find the antidote and he started becoming weak. She quickly ran outside to call for help, and by the time they took him to the hospital, he was already dead. Now, Iyanu is claiming that it was not from the knife that Danjuma died, because in as much as he's been wanted, she has already committed a crime. This is still a crime. She killed. So in as much as he is wanted, she too has been is going to be arrested for committing a crime. But now her defense is, it's not the knife that killed him, it's the charm, it's the juju. And to be honest, I doubted the story when I read it. But when I saw the picture of the knife, it's a small chinkini, those ones that they used to cut orange. And he had a little small dot on his chest. The left part, I don't know, the one that does not have the heart. So when I look at the knife and I look at the small injury, it's almost believable that it could have been the charms that killed this guy and not necessarily the knife. Because the injury was so small that you could probably hold it to go to the hospital or something. I might be wrong, but she may have a point. Even if she is lying, this story that she cooked up in their last moment might actually save her in court. It was such a twist of events when the police were able to figure out that this said man was the man they've been looking for all this while. And he just had his own tragedy cooked up for him. I guess this is what they say, karma does exist. God does punish a lot of people sometimes. Although it would have been nice to have him arrested so we can hear his side of the story, he will most likely deny it, like we've all heard. We also got to learn that people in his neighborhood, in his area, people who knew about him, celebrated when they heard that he was dead. That a lot of people were excited because he was a terrorist. He terrorized a lot of people. He stole, he abused people. People were deathly afraid of him. Now, to hear of his death, it seemed as though it was a celebration. And many people are calling for her to be released because she has 2 kids to cater for. And let's face it, this is not a life, and the police were probably going to kill him anyway. And if we're also being honest, she did it out of self-defense. If we're looking at it. The only thing now is the internet is divided as usual. And this is what people are saying. Some people don't feel bad for her. Most people do. Probably because she had killed somebody that everybody was afraid of. However, a lot of people are saying she knew the kind of person he was, and she still continues to stay in the relationship, and she still continues to have his babies. Look, it's what it is that it is. I am on the side of people who want her to go free, because she got to stay with a man who is going to take care of her kids. He probably was a deadbeat, but whatever he was doing sort of brought money for the kids. I don't think she herself cared so much for him. She just found herself in a situation that was sticky enough. If she had to leave, you can imagine what such a man would have done to her. A serial killer, a cultist, somebody who is a terrorist, somebody people are afraid of, somebody everyone is looking for. Imagine if at a young age, she's 22 by the way, and they have a 5-year-old child. So you can imagine how young she was when they first met. So let's put that into perspective. She was probably very young. 22 minus 5, that is about 17, 18 years old. So you can imagine, that is how long the relationship would have been. Obviously, at the time, she wouldn't have known. She was young. She made a stupid choice, realized it, but it was too late. So she had to do with the abuse. She had to do with the rumors. She had to deal with people. Probably, funny enough, for the fact that people were targeting him, I'm surprised nobody came for her. Because if the rival court group were actually looking to destroy him, they would have killed her and the babies too, just to get at him. But I think like I said, he probably did a lot of his mess and was able to separate the attention from himself and his girlfriend and children. That is a smart choice. All the time he was on the run, all the time the police were looking for him, all the time the rival court gangs were looking for him. Why didn't anybody think to lock her up, kidnap her, lock the babies up, to drag him to come? Because he did a little good job in protecting her and the kids away, which means that he knew where to find her. So she was kind of trapped in this relationship. And since the police were not going to lock him up, and the rival cult group don't seem to find him, whatever charm he did was probably working for him. You guys gave her no much option than to do it herself. She got to do what she had to do. She was being beaten. She was being physical. Even if the man was sleeping and she stabbed him, I mean, some of you celebrate jungle justice sometimes, but you gotta give it up for this situation. I mean, I know murder is murder, but in a situation like this where he has killed a lot of people's children, you shouldn't feel bad for him. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I should feel bad for him, but I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for her that she is going to be locked up and charged. I feel bad. I do. I hope and I see a chance of her getting out of it. Honestly, I do see a chance of her getting out of it. She wasn't involved in his mess. She was like a 17-year-old who got involved with the fucktard, and now she's in the mess. If she had tried to escape or tried to run away, he would have found her, killed her, or killed her family, siblings. But she stayed because she too was also afraid for her life. Like everyone else, she needed to be saved. She needed someone to rescue her. She was hoping and praying that the fact that the police and everyone is looking for him, at some point they will find him. She didn't want to be the snitch. Who knows, maybe she was one who went to snitch. And by the time she got back home, they beat her up and she fought back and he got stabbed. It's believable that he may have died of the charms, even though some people would not believe it. But it's believable given the size of the knife and the size of the injury and the chances of him actually surviving it. Believable. However, I think that charm story would work in her favor, and I hope it does, although many people don't believe it. If I was a lawyer, I would know she's saying a bull crap. However, I would give her the best defense to let her go. This is not, I don't know, there are people who would get murdered and, you know, they don't deserve it. Need I say more? Let's just leave it at that. There are people who will get murdered and they don't deserve it. Fortunately, this is not one of them. It's so interesting how things turned out to be. And I can feel the excitement in the air. So many people will be happy. But anyhow, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Do you believe he actually died from the charms, or do you believe she did kill him because she wanted to get rid of him? And what do you think? Do you think she should go to jail and suffer for the consequences of killing him, or do you think they should let her go? Let me know what you think in the comments below.